Judges overseeing the cartel hearing are considering several factors to determine if a retrial is needed. On Friday, the court learned about a backlog of cases in the Supreme Court awaiting retrial, adding to the complexity of the deliberations. There are also concerns about constitutional breaches. Here's Natalia Clark, who has been tracking the case.
Day 5 of the Court of Appeal hearing to decide if VYBZ Kartel and his 3 co-accused will be released ended with the prosecution conceding that the men's constitutional right to a fair trial within a reasonable time was breached. Prosecutor Lorian Tugwell, however, said this can be remedied. She argues that a public admission that their rights have been breached and an expedited hearing are appropriate resolutions if their time in custody is further prolonged for a retrial. The Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms allows for infringements that are demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. But defense attorney John Clark says the admission is cause for concern.
As a Jamaican, I am concerned about that because it means that sometimes what we think is fundamental rights, which our forefathers fought for a reason, are not being valued as they should be, especially by state organs.
He represents Kyra Jones and Andre St. John, while Isaac Buchanan represents Adidja Palmer and Sean Campbell. The team this week argued that it is not in the interest of the state nor the appellants for a retrial to be granted 13 years after the alleged crime.
Time has expired so long. Men have been in custody for 13 years, and we want the court to consider that factor and the special circumstances of this case, including the ordeal that the men have suffered, and also the more than 774 Jamaicans who are before the Home Circuit Court, who are waiting on their day in court and who may have their matter pushed back just to facilitate this matter. He
says the latter is not only unfair to the accused people in waiting, but puts undue strain on already scarce state resources, a reality that he says must be put into context after acting DPP Claudette Thompson on Thursday said the state will just have to bear the cost.
I find that statement very concerning because ultimately I remember reading and hearing about stories of what happened in certain countries, in this country, whereby because the state doesn't have money for ventilation, you have babies who are dying. And when you recall the amount of Jamaicans who are in custody waiting for their days to have their trial, and the trial can't continue because of scarce resources in relation to courtroom, etc. And when one recalls the call that the Court of Appeal has been making for years for resources to ensure that they can hear matter in a timely manner, and one wonders what is meant by the state must just pay for it, because the state is you who is home. The state is your scarce taxpayers' dollars being utilized to go down and pursue one case when there are hundreds of Jamaicans and hundreds of victims who are waiting their turn in the queue.
The prosecution on Friday also sought to cement their point that publicity will not prejudice the case. Looking to support their stance, they noted there were over 110,000 tweets about the matter over a decade, but only 25.5% were from Jamaica, implying a viable jury pool still exists. It was also suggested Kartel could get bail during his retrial to tend to his medical needs, such as a surgery. A key consideration for the 3-judge panel, however, was the matter of delay in the Supreme Court. An affidavit from the court's registrar noted that the 2 cases sent back for retrial since 2018 are yet to receive a trial date. They, however, noted there is room for priority matters. Clark is confident the Court of Appeal has efficiently dissected the matter and anticipates their decision.
But what I'm happy about is that the judges are listening to both sides. They're posing hard questions to both sides. So justice is alive and well, it's kicking. Our judges have dealt with this matter, especially on the rehearing part, in a record time. And the appellants must take comfort from that, because what it demonstrates is that we have a justice system, one of the best in the world, where judges take seriously the rights of our citizens and will do what they think is best, bearing in mind the balance between the interests of the deceased family and the interests of the accused men.
The hearing will wrap up on Tuesday with the prosecution's conclusion and the defense's response. The Court of Appeal's decision is expected to take some time. Natalia.